Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video. Today we have a new moon in Scorpio and I want to give you another message that is more intuitive for today. So firstly, I want to remind you that everything you're working on is coming to fruition. This Scorpio fiery energy is reminding you just to keep up when it's the hardest. Because many of you are right now in between, in the transition phase. In Indian traditions, those phases were called bardos. And these transition phases are really interesting ones because here and there we experience this sensation of knowing that everything we are working on is actually making results even though we can't see them. And a part of us is still worrying and doubting. And what happens, we become more of what we are feeding the most. So Scorpio is reminding you to feed the part of you that helps you to transform, right? Scorpios are emotional and sensitive, yet also intense and resilient. They're the alchemists of the zodiac, transforming pain into power. So when it comes to this really unique and very intense new moon, I want to remind you to focus on the things that are already working in your favor, but at the same time recognize what is that authentic part that is rising during this process. Today's new moon brings powerful support for emotional healing and transmutation of pain into power, as I mentioned. And in this transmutation, you're noticing who you are on an authentic level. And because we are hearing a lot about authenticity, sometimes words may lose meaning. So I want to remind you firstly to reflect a little bit about your childhood, who you've been before you've been hurt. If you can bring some memories to your consciousness right now, who you have been before you've been hurt, before you've been taught how life works, before people around you said to you how you should behave. Who you have been. Have you been a playful kid? Have you been a creative kid? Have you been this researcher who was curious about everything? Or have you been the one that already knew so much, like a wise one, an old soul who has already been quite experienced and you felt like you just need to come to across the right information and get into it. Sometimes kids are like that. Like school is not maybe so interesting to you because most of the subjects there are boring because you're much more experienced soul-wise. So just reflect a little bit who you've been as a little kid because your authenticity is there. And then all the conditioning, everything you've been through, everything you've been told kind of poison that purity, authenticity. And this new moon is deeply helping you to tap back into this part of you that is pure, that is authentic, that is wise, that is intelligent, so you can embody it. Your authenticity fosters resilience. Sometimes we think that while being resilient, we become authentic. But actually, when we are authentic, we become resilient because we recognize nobody can take this from us. People can take from you anything but not yourself, right? And once you recognize this, you recognize actually all I have is myself. Everything else is just a part of this journey. And if I lose something, I know I will win something else. And once we start looking on life like that, we lose fear. We lose the fear of losing, of failing, of not getting what we want. Because if you don't get what you want, you may get something better, right? It opens us up to something greater and it inspires us to keep changing, to keep transforming, to keep working hard on the things that are important to us because we want to be helpful, we want to be well acknowledged, we want to be wise, we want to embody whatever kind of enlightenment we are seeking for. We want to become the embodiment of wisdom or whatever it is. So new moon is always like a doorway for a new beginning. And because of this one, very intense one, very passionate one, transformative one, it is inviting us into the deeper depths, if that's the correct saying. It is inviting you into the depth of your soul and recognize who you are, while embodying more of what you recognize that you truly are. It empowers you to manifest the life you desire, redirecting energy from worrying to purposeful pursuits, and that is something truly powerful. So I want to remind you that your time is come to shine in your authenticity. So firstly, what does it all mean? Well, when we reflect on ourselves and we recognize that actually most of the things and reasons why I've been so hard on myself is because people around me are like that. We recognize, well, most of the needs and desires for approval, for validation are not even ours. It's not mine. So what is mine? What are my own needs? What kind of life I want to live? What kind of people I want to have around me? We start wandering into a different direction, right? And many of you already know this because you've started walking a new path. You've started transforming your life. There's many artists here in the community, many musicians, many poets, and many entrepreneurs. Those are already people who started walking a new path. And many of you have been through many transformations. Many of you have been through many, as I said before, bards. Those are phases in between one and another. And in these phases, we are the most connected to intuition because a part of us is being lost while a part of us is guiding us through the process. So there's a strong feeling of intuition that is navigating us through the process. Intuition will never say to you when something will happen, but it will always invite you to trust. Trust yourself. Trust your steps. Trust your own intelligence. And take time for yourself. Take time to cut the distractions and listen to yourself. Listen to your body. Listen to your body's needs so your vessel can constantly be purified, can be taken care of, can be well nurtured so it can serve you well, right? Imagine a fire, what it is doing. You put a matter to a fire and it transforms it into light, and at some point it seems like it disappears. It is transforming the form of matter into light. And that's what Scorpios are really good at. That's why they're so emotional and so sensitive, because you have to be sensitive if you want to transform anything. You have to be sensitive. If you're not sensitive, you may say, well, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything. And that's why all you're doing is just thinking about what should happen or how something should be experienced. Like sometimes when people are too intellectual about certain spiritual phenomena, they may miss the whole meaning behind whatever is happening. Like if you go into a certain spot, Earth has many spots that are more intense in energy terms. In Slovenia, we have many many spots where the energy is really strong. And if you go there by thinking what you should experience at the spots, you may miss everything. You may not experience anything, but if you're sensitive and you recognize what's happening, like what do you feel when you get there, you recognize that at certain areas of your body you feel energy more intense, and that's how you notice maybe this part of your body is a little bit more vulnerable to energy, or there's some blocks there, or however you experience it. And through sensitivity, you start to know your body much better. You start to recognize how energetically your body is functioning. Where are the areas of your body that need more intention and more attention? So we can travel into these areas and heal them just with your presence. Just with your presence. What does it mean? Well, you've been ignoring yourself for such a long time, focusing on the outside world. Nothing wrong with that. But when you recognize that your body is serving you so you can serve life, so life can serve you, right? Interconnectedness. When you walk with life, you create life. And when you create life, you manifest anything you choose. That's the power of creative energy. You create almost out of nothing whatever you want, with consistency, with repetition, and creative abilities, thinking things into existence. You can do it. But firstly, your body needs to be well balanced and stable. So we have to recognize what are the parts of your body that require attention, your presence within them. And this new moon is deeply inviting you to get to know your body better. So meditate a little bit during this time and in tune with any unpleasant part of yourself. And maybe ask yourself, what do you need? Some nutrition maybe, certain activities, certain type of stretching or a massage, or maybe anything else. Your body will tell you. It will tell you. And sometimes you get what you don't want to hear, like quit sugar or something like that, right? And you don't want to do these things because it's unpleasant. But that's how you get to know your impulses better. Most of our lives are controlled by our impulses, but impulses are programs of our past. They're not really intuitive. They're not our heart's desires. So what we're doing as we're going through the healing process, we're slowly building awareness around our impulses so we can slowly lower the volume of them. And not by ignoring them, but by recognizing, look, even if I'm craving this kind of food that is unhealthy for me, if I will give you more nutritional food, you will feel better. And eventually you will notice that these cravings for sugar, for example, are actually not so important anymore. Because if I give you this nutritious food, you have more energy. So then you can easily decide what's better for you, right? And for that, we also need to have a good mental state. If we're constantly in a stressful environment, we can't do that work. So we need to honor ourselves to such a degree that we decide to adapt our environment to that transformative journey. If it's necessary for us to move to a place where we'll be more supported, well, it's something to think about. If we need some traveling to find some new perspective around ourselves, well, it's something to think about. If we feel like we need someone who can guide us through this process, it's something to think about, to find someone who can help you to move through this transformative process, right? So just remind yourself that wherever you are right now is completely okay. But wherever you are going right at this time should come from your deepest dreams of where you want to be. And that's where you need to have clarity. That's fire, right? To be inspired to take brave action. Scorpios are all about great action. They want to transform things. When they don't like what is present, they ask themselves how to change it. And then they make a plan and then they change it. That's what you should do right now. And you're deeply supported for that. There's a lot of passion present. Passion is this emotion that is like a fire. It just pushes us to do something that is important to us, and we become quite enthusiastic about it because we always experience positive results as the byproduct of creative transformation. So you're supported for this process right now, and I want to invite you into making some plans for your life, some new goals. Wherever you are, you have something you're aiming towards right now, and just think about certain things that you already know you're working towards, but maybe can you be more precise? Or maybe, is there something you're missing? Or is there something you are being lazy or you're procrastinating? And you're only procrastinating because a certain sense of clarity is missing, or you don't know if it's really possible to you. What kind of information could help you at this point to be more inspired to do the work? Maybe a certain book that could uplift you in this area. Always be open for something new, for a new knowledge. And remind yourself that sometimes you need to go to new places to find new knowledge, right? Like if you are maybe, let's say, you may feel you don't have the right book or you don't know the right people. Maybe all you need is truly to go into a new bookstore, a new library, somewhere else, into a new city, maybe somewhere you haven't been before. Try it out, you will see magic will happen. You will most probably meet a certain person that will uplift you in some way, and you will come across something you never thought that is possible. That's the freshness of life that we need, especially when we're moving through these phases, where we're in between of something. We all feel like the whole world is going through this phase where we are basically in between something, like the old earth and the new earth. And right now we are in between the old age of Pisces, the new age of Aquarius. We are somewhere in between. In the first degree of the age of Aquarius, this is the beginning. And it feels like we are somewhere in between. A great chaos is happening on the world, and a great awakening is happening on the world. And all it comes in this transitioning phase is to what we are feeding the most with our attention, with our energy, with our focus, with our actions, and with our intentions, what we are feeding the most. Everything starts with an intention. Then it starts with action. And then it leads to habits. And then it leads to momentum, right? And then it leads to change. And you can change anything you choose. You can become anyone you choose to be. You can choose your own world in which you're living. Because even a world is firstly a perspective, how you choose to see things. Then secondly is how you choose to respond to what is happening. And thirdly, what kind of people you choose to have around you. So you can collectively design, let's say, a state in which you love to be, in which you feel supported to be yourself, to be authentically yourself. And once you take care slowly, or if maybe not take care, but start taking care of, you will notice that Dharma will support you. The law of nature will support you. And many great synchronicities will start happening to you. So my friends, I hope you found something valuable today. If you came across this video, it was meant for you. So I hope it helped you in some way. Don't forget to hit the like button, because it helps to bring this message to more people that need to hear it. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed in today's artwork. You can find the link in the description to our Etsy store, I Draw My Passion. Go there, check it out. Until next time, one love.